Before we proceed further, could finance explain the key financial preparations required before a major renovation project?
Certainly. Before launching a renovation project, the hotel must establish a detailed financial framework covering budget planning, cash flow forecasting, operational impact analysis, and contingency reserves. A realistic pre-opening or renovation budget should include construction costs, operating disruption impact, professional fees, procurement expenses, and working capital requirements. In addition, we need clear vendor payment schedules, approval controls, and regular project reporting mechanisms. Proper financial preparation is critical to minimize cost overruns and maintain operational stability throughout the project period.
How do renovation projects typically affect hotel operations?
Renovation projects can significantly impact hotel operations if not carefully managed. Temporary room closures may reduce occupancy capacity and affect revenue generation. Construction activity can also influence guest satisfaction due to noise, limited facility access, and operational disruptions. In addition, departments such as housekeeping, engineering, and front office often face increased coordination complexity during renovation periods. Therefore, strong communication, phased project planning, and close operational coordination are essential to minimize business disruption.
Which project costs are most commonly underestimated?
Several cost categories are frequently underestimated in hotel renovation projects. First, operational disruption costs are often overlooked, particularly lost revenue from room closures or reduced event capacity. Second, inflation and material price fluctuations can significantly increase procurement expenses over time. Third, additional labor, temporary equipment, and project coordination costs may exceed initial expectations. Contingency allowances are therefore extremely important because unexpected scope adjustments are common during renovation projects.
How do you control project spending effectively?
Strong financial governance is critical for controlling project spending. First, all expenditures should follow a structured approval matrix with clear authorization limits. Second, finance should conduct regular budget versus actual reviews to identify variances early. Third, vendor contracts and payment milestones must be monitored closely to avoid uncontrolled cash outflows. In addition, any scope changes should undergo formal financial evaluation before approval. Consistent reporting and cross-department coordination are essential to maintaining budget discipline.
What financial risks become most serious if the project timeline is delayed?
Project delays can create significant financial pressure. First, extended room closures may reduce revenue longer than forecast, directly affecting GOP and NOI performance. Second, delayed completion often increases labor and contractor costs due to prolonged project duration. Third, inflation exposure may worsen procurement expenses for imported materials and equipment. In addition, delayed reopening could impact market competitiveness and guest perception if renovation disruption continues too long. From a financial perspective, maintaining project timeline discipline is extremely important.
Why should we continue investing heavily during uncertain market conditions?
That's an understandable concern. However, in luxury hospitality, maintaining product competitiveness is essential for long-term asset value and pricing power. Strategic renovation investments help protect guest satisfaction, brand standards, and future ADR growth potential. The key is ensuring capital deployment remains disciplined, phased appropriately, and focused on projects with measurable operational or revenue impact. Well-managed reinvestment supports both long-term profitability and market positioning.
What should be finance's top priority throughout this renovation project?
Finance's top priority should be maintaining balance between project execution, operational stability, and financial discipline. That means closely monitoring project spending, protecting cash flow, minimizing operational disruption, and ensuring accurate forecasting throughout the renovation period. In addition, proactive communication between operations, engineering, procurement, and finance will be critical to controlling risk and avoiding unnecessary delays. Successful renovation projects require both strong operational coordination and disciplined financial management.
What is the expected payback period?
The expected payback period depends on the scope of renovation, market conditions, and the hotel's ability to improve ADR, occupancy, and overall guest perception after completion. For major guest room and public area upgrades, payback periods in luxury hospitality are often evaluated over several years rather than short-term cycles. However, beyond direct financial return, renovation projects also protect long-term asset value, brand competitiveness, and market positioning. Certain investments, particularly technology upgrades and energy efficiency improvements, may generate operational savings and faster ROI compared to purely aesthetic enhancements. From a strategic perspective, the project should be evaluated based on both financial return and long-term business sustainability.
Can the renovation be phased differently?
Yes, phased renovation strategy can often be adjusted to reduce operational disruption and protect revenue performance. For example, the hotel may prioritize high-impact areas first while postponing lower-priority components to later phases. However, extending timelines too aggressively may also increase construction costs, operational complexity, and guest inconvenience over a longer period. The challenge is balancing operational continuity, financial impact, and project efficiency. Any adjustment should be evaluated carefully based on occupancy forecasts, cash flow, and operational capacity.
Should some projects be postponed?
Potentially, yes, particularly if certain projects have lower strategic urgency or weaker short-term operational impact. During uncertain market conditions, prioritization becomes extremely important. Essential asset preservation, guest-facing improvements, and projects supporting revenue generation or operational efficiency should generally remain higher priority. Meanwhile, non-critical enhancements may be phased later, depending on liquidity position and market outlook. The objective is balancing financial discipline with long-term competitiveness and brand standards.
How do we protect guest satisfaction during construction?
Protecting guest satisfaction during renovation requires strong communication, operational coordination, and proactive service recovery. Guests should receive clear information regarding renovation schedules, affected areas, and available alternatives before arrival whenever possible. Operationally, noise control, construction timing management, and careful room allocation are extremely important. In addition, staff responsiveness and guest recovery procedures become even more critical during renovation periods. The goal is minimizing disruption while maintaining consistent hospitality standards.
Can we maintain occupancy targets?
Maintaining occupancy targets during renovation is challenging but achievable with careful operational and commercial planning. Market communication, strategic pricing, and business segmentation become particularly important during construction periods. The hotel may need to focus more heavily on loyal corporate accounts, long-stay guests, or lower-impact business segments during renovation phases. However, occupancy protection should not come at the expense of ADR quality or guest satisfaction. The objective is maintaining balanced business performance while protecting long-term brand perception.
What if vendor lead times increase further?
Extended vendor lead times can significantly affect project timeline, operational planning, and cash flow forecasting. To reduce risk, the hotel should strengthen procurement visibility, prioritize critical materials early, and maintain close communication with suppliers throughout the project. In some cases, alternative sourcing strategies or secondary suppliers may also need to be considered. Proactive procurement planning becomes extremely important during periods of global supply chain instability.
How should contract risks be managed?
Contract risk management requires clear scope definition, structured approval processes, and strong legal and financial oversight. Agreements should clearly define pricing terms, project timelines, performance expectations, delay responsibilities, and escalation procedures. Regular progress reviews and budget monitoring are also critical to identify risks early before they affect operations or financial performance. In addition, maintaining contingency reserves and strong documentation helps reduce exposure to unexpected project disputes or cost overruns.